I want to, in no specific order, cover a couple things tonight. One of them is the ease of ATMs or text threads. So for those of you that like are my note takers, I'm just kind of outlining you of where we're going a little bit. What you to do when you get someone started, like those kind of like next steps, like onboarding. Like I feel like sometimes there's people that have great systems and then other people don't. And like, what happens? Like, what do I do with the next person? And then also three-way calls, right? Like, how do you actually qualify someone to get them on a three-way call, and how do you edify that? And how do you set them up? So ATM, I give Jessica all the credit in the world for first coming up with that. You know, we all use them now. Emily Sutherland has termed it text threads because, you know, we have different Facebook groups and wherever that is. ATM for add tag message, or you add someone to one of our amazing pages. So maybe it's the opportunity page or it's one of our VIP pages. You tag them in something that's relevant. So, you know, Kim is talking to a girl at the nail salon and she wants to know if our products are gluten-free. She can add her to their opportunity page, Team Win Opportunity, right? If Laura's doing the same thing, Dreamers, you know, preview page. Tag them in something that someone who has celiac disease that uses our products, or a, you know, a post about it being gluten-free. But the message is the key, is getting that group message going. And Emily always calls these text threads, you know, for people who are not on Facebook or maybe aren't in the group set or whatever. And it's putting people into a group message that, number one, there's third-party validation. Number two, people see the community and the culture and the support. Number three, you're leaning on someone that has posture, that has conviction, that has excitement, especially if you're new. But we want to do these right away, because then when you have somebody who's brand new, who's sharing, and you go, hey, just throw me in a message with them, they don't think it's weird. But if you don't do that with them, but then you want them to do that, there's like a breakdown, right? Because they never had that happen. So with the text threads, you guys, these happen all the time in so many different ways, and they're amazing. I think it's very important when you're going to put someone in a text thread to do three things, right? This is who you're looking for if you're going to introduce someone into a group message. First of all, like binds with like, right? Like attracts like feels comfortable around like. You want to put people that have common ground. It will just make it less weird for everybody when there's familiarity of interest, familiarity of location, familiarity of profession, familiarity of where they are in the business, of health goals, of transformation, but put people in the same boat, right? Like make them feel comfortable that they go, oh, I can relate to this person. The second is then have someone in there with strong posture, excitement, conviction, knowledge to be able to keep it going, that you don't hit dead ends. And I'm going to walk you through that. And then the third is be concise, right? Jessica and I are in so many messages. You guys, if your ATMs that should be 1 minute introductions are 4 1-minute messages, number one, both of us will tell you this, they don't have priority anymore, because we go, oh my gosh, okay, I'm between calls. I have 30 seconds to try to listen to this and get back to you. I don't have 7 minutes to get caught up in this. If that's happening, that needs to be a call and a conversation, right? Be short, be excited. There are not 2 more people that you guys are working with more passionate and more excited about Isagenix than the 2 of us. If we don't want to listen to it, right, because we know it's rambling and it's long, here's what I can tell you. Your prospects sure as heck don't want to listen to it. They're not even excited about this yet. They're like, what is this blamble jarble, you know? And then it's like, no wonder why people don't get back to you. So that's the criteria to set them up. Now, people always say to me, Lauren, when do you do it? When do you know when to do it? I'm like, right away, all the time. So I prospect people all the time. Jessica prospects people all the time. And we want to introduce them to people so they see the culture, but that they know to do it right away. So for example, I messaged a girl over the weekend that's with Rodan Fields, right? We chatted a little bit. How did you get involved? What do you like? Are you making the money? Do you keep your options open, right? I just asked her a few questions. And right away, and mind you, I never asked permission. Don't ask permission. That's the first clue to make it weird. I wasn't like, oh, hi, by the way, if you want, I can introduce you to somebody else who is with Rodan Fields and you can talk to them. And they're like, no, they feel like it's going to be a bait and switch, like it's going to be weird pressure. They don't want that, right? I would never, ever, ever do it. I just immediately go into it, right? And so I messaged her. I said, hey, I've got to introduce you to someone so fabulous. I only introduce her to people that I really think could do something with this, but it's on my heart that I'm going to make this connection. And then I had messaged Erica. I said, hey, is it cool if I put you in this message? Like I gave her a heads up. And I introduced Erica Rothenberger to this girl, and I edified the heck out of her. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, Amber, you know, you've got to meet Erica. And I went on and on about Erica, her story, why she's amazing. And I said, Erica, just tell Amber a few things about why you think it's different over here, why she'd be amazing, why she could 10x what she's doing. I just want her to hear your story. You're so powerful. And I think this girl could run to the freaking moon with us, right? Did it all in less than a minute. Erica did a 1-minute message back. The girl started asking questions. And then I said, hey, I'll message you privately so that Erica doesn't get bombarded with my messages. Okay. I do it when I'm prospecting. So then when we have brand new people, so this happened today with nutrition, they're like, hey, I have a collagen customer that now wants to do the nutrition, but they don't know what shake is right for them. And they don't know like if it's gluten-free or like what type of pack I should be putting them on. I'm like, just do a group message. Like, I don't want to spend 20 minutes. You go to me, you go back to them, you go to me, you go back to them. And we're like all confused on what's happening. I said, just do a group message and say, Lauren, this is my collagen customer. She's interested in the nutrition. I'm not as well versed in the nutrition. I want to make sure she's set up for success. You know, Lauren, this is Kathy. She's been, you know, crushing it with the collagen. She and her husband are curious about the cleanse and some of the shakes, you know, like, can you help her? You've been with them for so long, blah, blah, blah. And we move forward from there. I love to do it when someone's recently enrolled, to have someone pour excitement into them. Like if I enroll someone who's like, send me the link, I'm excited, I still put them into the group chat. I might be like, Laura, you've got to meet Christy. I met her at the nail salon today. She's amazing. She hopped right in with the Afterglow bundle. I know we're going to help her find her first 2 people right away. You know, Jessica, I want you to meet Laura. We work closely together. If I'm ever not available, you have another line of support. Laura, give Jess your first 2 tips on how you got your products for free. Like, what's your best tip of advice? If right now we're going to get our $200 in her pocket by Sunday, you know, this is what I told her to do. What would you tell her to do? There's so many ways that we work together as a group. It's concise. It's excitement. It is without permission. Don't make it weird, and come from a place of value. The whole thing is always about, how can I add service? How can I add value? How can I get the person the best information? It's not salesy. It's not bait and switch. It's not, you know, pressure. It's not all these things that we think it is. And then it really starts to duplicate. Okay. Now here's what I can tell you. Some of you that are setting up 3-way calls, you could do them in group messages. It's a great use of people's time, and you can really start to weed out who's interested or who's not interested before you're on a call, right? Or you can start to qualify people to figure out who you actually want to get on a call with and talk to them more about the compensation plan or draw things out. So if you have people right now on your list, right? And you're like, man, I reached out to them and they really weren't interested. And you think that that's a dead end. You know, I was like, Mindy, you're going to love the collagen. And she's like, I already take a collagen, right? So as a brand new person, you're like, what do I do now? Right? You're like, oh, she already takes a collagen, and it stops the conversation. But imagine if I could take this immediately into a group message, right? And I was like, Jessica, got to introduce you to Mindy, you know, like she is so influential, you know, she's gorgeous. I know she'd be amazing at this. She's someone who loves to try things first. I thought about her for the collagen. She told me she already takes one. And Mindy, I wanted you to meet my friend Jessica. Jessica was already taking collagen. She actually took many. She never got results. She can really tell you why this product is truly an industry disruptor, why it's 10x, you know, anything else out on the market. I just wanted her to tell you a quick story and drop her pictures in here. If it's not for you, no biggie. If it is, awesome. And if Jessica came in with her conviction and her excitement, plus she has before and after pictures, Mindy suddenly is like, oh, maybe the one I'm taking is not that great. Maybe I should pay attention to this. Maybe it even goes to, hey, let me finish what I currently have, but thank you so much. Next month, I'm going to order from you. Right? If a brand new person doesn't know how to keep that conversation going, that group message with someone who has conviction can keep it going. People put me in messages all the time with people that use other products because of my nutrition background. People put Jess in messages all the time from the business because that's her business background, but it keeps it going, okay? So if you have customers right now that you have never shared the opportunity with, or you're nervous on how to share the opportunity, or maybe you don't know how to walk them through the next steps, here's another opportunity for a text thread. Okay, so this is why I'm like mixing the ATMs and the text threads, because sometimes with the prospects, add them in the page, tag them in something, do the message, that works. Once they're enrolled, you're not necessarily re-adding them, right? So I'm kind of blending this with the same concept, but I have people all the time and they go, Lauren, I think Anna would be amazing at this business. I know she's loving the products, but like, I don't really know. I asked her if she wanted to get her products for free, and she said she doesn't really want to sell anything. If you guys can relate to that, put a 1 in the chat, right? Because it happens all the time. I'm like, girlfriend, put me in a chat with her. Like, we got to walk her through what to do. And Anna's like, I don't know. I don't know if she wants to talk to you. Like, she says she doesn't really want to sell anything. I'm like, well, did you ask her? Like, hey, do you want to get a call on my upline? Like, that's weird. Would you want to get on that call? I don't want to get on that call, right? And I'm the one that's supposed to do the call, and it already feels weird. But if Anna just immediately goes into a message with me, right? And she's like, Lauren, oh my gosh, you've got to meet Janelle. She's loving the products. I think that she would have so much fun sharing this with others. She told me she's nervous to sell. She doesn't want to feel pushy. She doesn't really want to be in sales, but she does want to get her products for free. Janelle, meet Lauren. She's been doing this for so long. She totally understands that this business is not for everybody, but she loves the standard that everybody in our team eats for free. She has some of the easiest, simplest tips and tricks to just help you get your next order for free. I had to introduce you. Lauren, tell her a little bit about our 3-step simple system. Lauren, tell her what's working so well that everybody's getting their products for free. And then Anna can be a little bit removed, right? Like, that's her friend. She doesn't want to feel too pushy, but she's guiding it to the next level. And I'm like, I don't know who Janelle is. I just want her to eat for free. And I'm like, girlfriend, a half intelligent monkey to do this business. PVC, here's our 3-step simple system. We go into everything Jess talked about last week. Okay. The ATMs, the group messages, they're working all the time, but you want to put them as someone who's excited, who has the posture, and who can keep the conversation going. So I've talked about this before, but I'm bringing it up because it's important, especially as we are going back to talking a little bit more about the nutrition and not just collagen. When someone's having a tough cleanse experience, when someone wants to return, you guys, that is salvageable, but you've got to lean into other people. So if you're brand new and you're cleanse coaching someone, right? Let's say Sheila calls me and she's like, I don't know, these shakes, I'm gassy, I'm bloated, I have a headache. I don't think it's for me. I just think that I'm going to return it. You said it comes with 100% money back guarantee. It's not for me. I'm going to go back to something else. I want my money back, right? Someone who's a little bit more new and doesn't have all the stories, they're like, oh, all right, gassy Sheila, like, return it back. Sorry, Sheila, I love you, right? But it's like, send it back, get your money back. But if Sheila could introduce that person to, say, someone like Emily Sutherland, who has a strong background, has helped a lot of people. And, she just says, hey, Emily, I want you to meet Kathy, you know what I mean? Or, Sheila, sorry, I'm mixing up my names with my sisters here, and she's like, she is nervous. She thinks that she wants to return. Like, she didn't think it's working for her. She's a little bit gassy, blah, blah, blah. Emily, you've helped a lot of people. I know that you have seen this before. Do you have some things? I really want her to be successful. She told me she had 15 pounds to lose before her daughter's wedding. I know she can do this. And then Em can chime in there and say, yes, add oats to your shakes, or take more Isoflex, take less Isoflex, drink water. I mean, all of the things that we know, but it will keep the return from happening and ultimately get someone to their goals. But it's not even like, hey, would you want to be on the phone with someone? Just do it. You guys just be bold and be less worried about what they think about you, and just more excited about getting them the right experience, more excited about getting them the best information. All of you, many of you were introduced to somebody else besides your sponsor. I mean, even just from being on this call, it's fun. You guys, Emily did such an amazing job. I know she's not on here. Emily Sutherland had her second baby girl on Saturday night. So she's got a little newborn, but literally on Friday and Saturday, the amount of messages that were like recircled back of like, I'm going to have a baby tonight, and like, Lauren's here, or different things that were coming up. That was like, I'm going to have a baby. Lauren's going to help. Lauren's here to support. If you have questions, that literally, like, she went into labor, and I mean, I helped her create 2 consultants and put an enrollment in on Saturday night. And no one thought it was weird because it was teed up ahead of time. Laura and I have been working so closely together in so many messages that, like, Laura takes off for a weekend and like, it's fine because Jen Tudor knows to reach out to me. Tina Burns knows she can reach out to me, and vice versa. I went to Napa and Laura just picked up and ran with my business because we work closely together. There's so much value in this, and people see the community and they see the culture, they get third-party validation, you overcome objections, there's excitement, there's so many things. But honestly, I'm going to leave you with those same 3 things that I told you in the beginning. Okay. Don't ask permission. Just do it. It's the next step. Just literally, that's the expectation. When you enroll someone, introduce them to someone who can help them get paid, right? When you prospect someone, introduce them to somebody for the third party validation. When someone's not having a great experience, introduce them to someone to keep it going. Make sure the person is relatable to them, but someone who is skilled and confident and excited and has posture, and just be really short. Just be short. It does not take a lot of time to be really, really, really effective. Okay. So from there, three-way calls. I will tell you guys, and this is with love, there is nothing that makes my skin crawl more when someone's like, hey, can you do a three-way call for me? And I get on a call and there's no introduction, there's no edification. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing on this call, and this person's not qualified at any given time, right? So I'm on the call and they're just like, yeah. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, what's happening, And there's so many things that can happen. So prospecting has to happen, right? By the time you set up the three-way call, the person is somewhat interested, right? You're either to have someone that go through the systems or to go through the business, but they're open, right? If you have one of your leaders, you have someone on there, don't waste everybody else's time, okay? Then when you are doing the edification, I'm a big fan to introduce the person that you've invited to help you, the leader, the upline, the expert. I don't like any of those terms first. And then, your prospect, like, put value there. But also schedule with them ahead of time. Or if you're doing in the group text, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to get you on the phone with my friend Jessica Rigner. She's the number 8 income earner, number 10 income earner. She's the fastest growing business right now. She's in high demand. It is a treat that you're going to be able to chat with her for a few minutes. She's only available at 1:30 today or 3 o'clock tomorrow. Which time works for you? When you go on there and you're like, hey, I'm going to, have my friend get on the call. When are you free? You've lost all value in what we're doing, right? They have the total control. I've never, ever, ever called my dentist and been like, hey, I need my cleaning. And then be like, oh, when do you want to come in? Never. 39 years of getting my teeth cleaned. What happens is I get a postcard reminder and I call and I'm like, hey, I need to come and get my teeth cleaning. And they're like, awesome. In like 3 weeks, I have 11:17, or in 5 weeks, I've got 12:22. And you're like, oh, I'm coming at 11:17. And you figure it out, right? Same thing with my hairdresser. I've never called and been like, my roots are growing out, I need to come in. Her been like, when do you want to come in? She's like, hey, I have a 9 o'clock or a 5 o'clock. And you figure it out. When you treat this business like a business and with posture and excitement, number one, people are going to respect you. Number two, they're going to show up for the calls. If you have people not showing up for the calls, Jessica's going to say something. Yeah, there's no value there.
So I love everything Lauren is saying, and it's really true. I think I have two things that I'd add, just strong preferences of mine, just that I've watched people be really successful. I think it's tough when you try to be the scheduler. So the best thing is the ATM. Send a message with me and them and let us find a time to chat. So I just went through this with Ann White the other day so sometimes you have a great prospect, a great business prospect. And here's what I will say to you, and this is not going to be popular among network marketing leaders, but there's like the old school concept of a three-way call or a three-way Zoom. But a lot of times I could talk to someone, like if I got on the phone with Beverly Allen and I don't know Beverly and we were introduced by Michelle, and if Michelle was there, it's a different kind of conversation, frankly. A lot of times if I get on the phone and it's just me and Beverly, or we get on a Zoom and it's just the two of us, I will tell you guys that a lot of times, while it may not be as teaching, we can record a Zoom, but a lot of times people will say things to us in private that they wouldn't say if you were included, right? A lot of people tell me super vulnerable, super authentic things that really signal why they need us so badly. But I might not admit, like, if Adrian introduced me to Lauren, I wouldn't admit necessarily in front of Adrian, yo, girl, I got $3 in my bank account. I have been looking for an opportunity desperately, because Adrian's my neighbor and she sees me in my Benz and she thinks my life is one way. So I'll just say that sometimes that's it. The other thing that I would really implore people is, some people will do a message and they'll put a whole bunch of leaders on it. And when I worked at Citibank is notorious for what's called City Swarm. We would bring in like 8 Citibankers and there'd be 1 or 2 potential customers in a meeting. Now imagine how you'd feel if you're like one person, you're like, here I am working for Toyota, and these 8 people came in and completely overwhelmed me. It's the exact same way here. If you do an ATM message, do it with you, your prospect, and one person. Don't put me and Lauren in. It not only is an ineffective use of our resources, it's overwhelming. And it's like, how many cooks are in our kitchen? Our kitchen's kind of small. And here we are with all these people. And then the last thing, just in terms of that scheduling, is when people come to me and they go, when can you talk to my girlfriend? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, because now you got to go back to your girlfriend and get a time. Instead, what's sleeker and more streamlined is Janelle introduces me and says, hey, I want you to meet Ken. Ken's awesome. You're going to love him. And I'm going to send a message with you guys. And I'm going to tell, and by the way, and Janelle tells me in advance, like, by the way, just so you know, Ken is a leading coach. He's a dynamo. People chase him down the road to do anything that he does. Okay, cool. So then Janelle sends a message and she's like, Ken, I want you to meet Jessica. She's this and that. She edifies me, just like Lauren was describing. She says, like, here's why when you're leaving the message, I want you to do it succinctly. You're going to delete it if it's more than a minute. You're going to succinctly say, here's why Ken should care to talk to Jessica. Ken, here's why. You're always thinking, if you're in sales, you're always thinking, why does the person care? Why does this matter? What am I saying right now? Why does it matter? Does this add value? So Ken, I wanted you to talk to Jessica, but she's helped a lot of people create massive incomes, the kind of income you described wanting to have, just like you. She's a big family person. She's got a big faith. You guys would be great friends if you lived in the same town. Jessica, Ken, you have no idea. And honestly, Brandy Brokaw, if you're on this call, you're the queen of hyperbole. She describes someone and I go, if I don't meet them and be best friends with them, my life is not going to be complete. Ken is one of the most radically awesome coaches. He lives in complete surplus and overflow. And Jessica, you've got to share with him what your vision is with this business. Tell him a little bit about what you've done here, and tell him what he could be doing in this kind of opportunity. And then I'm going to write back to Ken. I'm going to suggest, because Janelle told me sidebar, get him on a Zoom, because I think you two would have a great conversation, draw out the comp plan. So I'm going to say, Ken, I would love to chat. I typically take calls 9 to 1 Eastern time. Tomorrow I could do 11 or 11:30, which is better for you. Ken's going to respond, because do you see what happened there? Janelle's out of it. She's not this. I don't want Janelle. You guys are effective builders in our community. If we're putting your skills to the test, you're outgrowing your teams. You're not our personal assistant, me and Ken, to schedule our call, right? You're on, let us do our own scheduling and deal with that. There's a lot of people who are like, Jessica, let me be on the Zoom. Hey, you can be, but I can assure you, I would rather record it, or I'd rather have you like listening on speakerphone. And I'd rather, if this is like a sensitive, Ken is going to blow the doors off of it, I'd rather it be me and Ken. Are there exceptions? Yes. I just did a call with Anna Atkinson and some awesome networkers the other day. And it was like, it was a different vibe though. It was a vibe of, you've been in network marketing before, and it was like a meeting of the minds. So I tell you that just to say there are absolutely different kinds of calls. But if it's just like, oh my gosh, Jessica, if you could meet Danelle, she's a rocking woman who's been in corporate sales like you. And that red personality, almost always it's got to be a one-on-one. Sorry, Laura, just had to jump in with that.
Don't apologize. This is why we love to be a like tag team and everything. You guys, there's a little bit, the more you do this, that there's intuition in that. And I agree that sometimes when you get on those vision calls or whatever, that you do want to meet with them one-on-one. And there's times that you do want to plug your people in, because that's where it duplicates, that so many people learned how to talk about the nutrition because they heard me do it over and over and over, right? So there are going to be times that you're like, yeah, hop on, let's figure out how to figure out this person's bloating issues or headaches or whatever, and that you're going to learn. And there are going to be times that it's more sensitive, and that you're not going to tell the people that you directly know, that you'll get that. And that's where that scheduling is great. Or it's harder to get 3 people on than 2 people anyways. So sometimes it just naturally happens, and you trust that we have the best intentions there. So back to just, kind of that 3-way call, when you set it up, when you actually are going to be on there, if you are on there, it's so important to just recap, similar to the ATM or the 3-way message or whatnot. But I like to highlight, what is it that you want to do? So when I tell you that Jess and I are in like hundreds of group messages, you guys, we're not being dramatic. I'm not exaggerating. She's not exaggerating. We love it all day long. And both of us are pretty smart and have good memories, but we lose track of things until it gets brought to our attention. So when we get on a call and I'm just like, hey, Kathy, hey, Jess, I know we were going to chat today at 2:00. and it's like awkward, and I'm like trying to go through the chat and like figure it out, and they're all voice text, you know, of like what the heck we were going to say. But if I could just quickly be like, oh my gosh, Kathy, I'm thrilled that you get to talk to Jessica. You know, I know that you're nervous about, you know, sharing because you're in another company, and, you know, Jessica, you've helped a lot of people pop over, you know, and make that seamless. I just want to have a chance to chat, to walk you through those next steps. You know, it takes just a second to bring up the focus. Or if someone says, Lauren, I've got you on the phone with Linda. You know, I really want you to just show her the numbers. I want you to show her fast track to executive. How can we show her how to make $5,000 or $10,000 in the next 90 days? Can you walk her through that? And I'm like, oh, this is what we're doing. I mean, do some type of recap of the intro and what you want to come out of that call. You know, I mean, Janny used to get Jess and I in calls when we were pretty early on, because she was developing us. And in hindsight, now we know what she was doing. And I was like, why is she calling us? Like, you know, we're sitting on a call and all of a sudden she has us leading the call, but she could guide it, right? I mean, she was literally like so skilled at this, and she would call me and she'd say, Lauren, I've got, you know, Dr. Chris on the phone, or, you know, Dr. Shelley or whoever, you know, these chiropractors. And she's like, they're amazing. And they're the top chiropractors in Spokane. And I've got this clinical nutritionist in Denver, and she's crushing it with, you know, bringing the doctors on board there, and tell them what you're doing and what packs they put in their patients on. And all of a sudden I was doing the call, but she was walking us through. She just had this natural ability to have the conversation flow. And that's what you want to be doing, right? If I'm sitting at coffee with Jessica and Anna walks by, I'm not going to be this weird, awkward introduction. Like, how, you know, I would be like, oh my gosh, Jessica, Anna's the rock star I've been telling you about. And I'm like, Anna, I can't believe I'm actually here with Jessica. Sit down, like, have a seat. Let's buy you a cup of coffee. And you're just creating that same really personable experience when you're on the call. So the last little bit that I'm going to give you guys tonight, and this is what I do. I think that it's worked really, really well. You guys can find your own way. And I know Jess and Erica, and there's some really, really great systems there, but people always ask me, what do I do? What do I do when I get someone started? How do we increase retention? How do we increase the customer experience? So if you have someone who primarily joined for the products, right? Now I know product people turn into business builders and everything else, but let's say someone reached out to me and they go, hey, I saw your transformation. I want to be a part of the cleanse, you know, and I had said, hey, you know, we know everybody that eats food. Who are a couple of people that want to do this with you? And they're like, no, really, I just want to do a reset. I just want to use the products, you know, and I'm respecting that for right now, they're a customer. Here's the few things that I do. Okay. Number one, I make sure they are added to our support page. So Team Win has one, Dreamers in Action has one, the Cleansers and Coaches page, right? The excuse me, the product page, so that they can see the resources, they can see the recipes, they can learn about new products. There's a place they can ask questions. I tell them to do two things. Once the cart is ordered, number one, download the IsoLife app. I say, download this app. You can control all of your orders from here on out. Plus, you can literally log when you want to start, and it's a checklist of what to do. This is on the nutrition, right? On the collagen, I still tell them to download the IsoLife app, right? That I want them to be able to order from here on out and have access to that. I'm a huge fan, especially on the nutrition, of getting into IsoBody. And I say, hey, I want you to enroll in IsoBody and do it tonight so that your first order counts towards the points you need. The company is going to give you $200 in product store credit for doing it. And you can earn up to $25,000 to $50,000 as a grand prize winner. You never know what's going to happen. You want to take these before pictures, because we know the statistics of what happens with BB and increased basket order and retention when people are in IsoBody and when they're using the IsoLife app. And then I do a group message with someone who is similar to them. It might be something like, oh my gosh, Susan, I'm so excited that you jumped on board. Kathy, Susan just hopped in with the premium pack. You know, Kathy's had an amazing transformation. I wanted to introduce you guys. Kathy's got the best tips on shake days. She's got some of the best recipes. You know, tell her what's worked for you. Here's just another line of support. I love to create that community right off the bat. And legit, if there is a time I'm unavailable, there's someone else that she knows she can go to. And then I schedule 2 calls immediately in my phone or in my calendar, right? 2 calls that I want to make sure if I got someone started that are happening. One is on day 5 and one is on day 25. And I'm going to walk you through why. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not talking to them in between them, or they're not chatting with me, or we're not, but these are intentional calls that I am specific that I want to make sure I do. The day 5 call is when someone is having a good enough experience to be like, what just happened, right? It's hit them, but it's a short enough time period that they remember what they felt like or what they looked like before it happened. all of us within the first week noticed the collagen, right? I mean, we didn't all have as amazing results necessarily as Lori or Denise, but I remember like my makeup going on like smoother than butter, like my lips weren't chapped. Like I noticed things right away, but I also remembered what my skin was feeling like days before. That's when people are going to be excited to share. That is this sweet spot to be like, who do you know, right? That has chapped lips? Who do you know that has dry feet? Who do you know that's bloated? Who do you know that ate too much sugar over the weekend or whatever? And being able to walk them through the next steps to create a consultant. This is not necessarily a big business builder networker yet, but to create a consultant, to just say, hey, you know, if I were to send you a text message of what to say, would you be willing to send it out? We have a post that works really well that you just kind of throw up the idea that you're doing this nutritional cleanse and you're looking for accountability partners. Would you be willing to put it up? If people are not interested, who cares? But you might find that there are some people that are praying for this solution and praying to feel as good as you feel right now, who are feeling just as fluffy as you were a week ago. Okay, that call to schedule a message or get on the phone with them. The second, when I say day 25, that's because right before their auto ship goes out. I want to have the opportunity to figure out what their goals are and help them customize their next order. Plus, it's another great time to get them to try other things, to enroll a spouse, and then they're one away from being a consultant. So if Kathy's at the end of her 30-day system and I call her and she's like, oh my gosh, like I really am loving the shakes. I can't imagine never having ionics. And she goes, but I keep seeing all this stuff about like Celatoire. Is that something that I can do? I know she's already going to keep an active account, right? With her bone broth and her shakes. But I go, hey, you should enroll your husband with the skincare. Let's teach you how to order smarter, not harder. And then you're one away. You're only one person away. Who could you share your success with and invite to be a part of your journey for month 2? It's being really, really intentional with their experience, what's relatable to them, and during a time they're super, super excited to want to share. Okay, that's on my customer side. On my business builder side, I make sure they are in our business page. So Team Win Builders, right? Dreamers in Action Builders, putting them in the community where we talk about the money. They see the money, they see the rank advancements. They are a part of our team calls. I absolutely make sure that they get 3 documents. I send the playbook, we all have it. I make sure separately, even though they're in the playbook, because I reference them all the time and I don't want them flipping through pages, the Leader in Action and the Map to Crystal Executive. Because I think they are that important in building this business. I mean, Jessica crushed last week's call on Leader in Action, so you understand why we're setting every single person up for it. And then I send them the link to Kathy Coover's Driving the Line recording. And I say, I want you to listen to this. And then when you have a list of a minimum of 10 names of people that you want to travel with, that you'd like to do business with, that, you know, all the key qualities of the business builders you're looking for, not product users, not people that want to lose weight, not people that have thinning hair, right? People who are influential, who are money motivated, who are highly networked, who are competitive, who have leadership, right? When you have 10 names, then we schedule a call and we start to drive the line. Getting them paid fast is so, so important. And then I think what's really important is you manage your expectations of what you want them to do and what you're willing to do or what you think it's done. So neither Jess and I are going to be like, oh my gosh, you can hop on board and make $1 million with us in 9 months and not have to do anything, right? Like we obviously have a roadmap to success and we can match that expectation with the time or the desire that somebody has. But I tell them things like we have a call every single Monday night. That 1 hour is going to launch pad your business forward. You have to get on it. If you're not committed to getting on these calls, I think you're just not that committed to building this business. And it's okay to manage that. Now, I have someone who does hair every Monday night. Like there's no way she'll get on this, but she always listens to the recording. I mean, there's things that people can show up in other ways. I tell them we offer a power hour 5 times a week. You don't have to get on every one, but I need you to get on at least one. Figure out what to do so that you can learn how to maximize this business and in an hour's time, do all of your income producing activities. Learn the skill set so you never sit down and like, what am I supposed to do today? And you know what to do. Okay, so when I have a builder, the playbook, Map to Crystal Executive, Leader in Action form, more than even me sending a comp plan call, because a lot of times I've done that in the vision casting or prospecting, I want them to listen to how to drive the line and send me a list and then we get to work. We start reaching out to those people, working really, really closely together because I want them to get paid. And then setting dates on their map to crystal executive. What's the date for crystal manager? What's your date for director? And I accelerate it, right? If you have 60 days to hit manager, let's do it in 14, right? Let's raise it up. If you have, 6 months to executive, let's do it in 90 days. That's what they used to be, right? And we put people on this fast track. And so when they're like, how do you get someone started? What are you doing? People can listen to personal development. There's so many recorded calls out there that they're going to do it, but they need the path. They need to say, okay, I need 10 friends that all know 2. I need to find 10 people that know 2 people with skin that eat food, right? Like keeping it simple, but showing them the money and really, really holding them accountable. So I'm gonna leave you with this, you guys. I listen to a podcast Monday through Friday every day. You guys have heard me say this before. I'm in an accountability group with Jenny Thompson and Chris and Laura. It's amazing, right? And we all have a different day. We send a podcast, we give our takeaways, but it sets our day up for success. What we focus on, working on a resilient mindset. And some of them, I'm like, man, I've heard, Tony Robbins say that same thing 18 times, and I'm not as in love with it. And sometimes I hear something that's just like, dang, like that was really good. And today I had that, and I said, I'm going to talk about it on the team call. So if anybody wants it, I'll send it over. It was only a 9-minute little pep talk today, so it's super short. But he talked about the 4 reallys if you're really going after something, if you really, 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 really want it. So Jenny or Chris, if you guys heard this, or Laura, you're probably already laughing today because I was like messaging in there, like literally Jenny sent it today. But I was like, I really, 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 really want it. I was like, what happens if you have 7 reallys or 8 reallys, But he broke it down. He said the first really is when you want something. She's like, I want to lose weight. I want to make money, right? There's this idea, there's this, like, it gets dropped somewhere. Like, it's like, like that'd be kind of cool, but you're not that committed about it. Like we have that all the time. Like, oh, like I really want to have pasta tonight. Probably not. I'm going to end up doing something else, right? It comes and goes that quickly. The second really, so I really, really is when you desire it. There's like a love for something, I really don't want to be at my job anymore. I really want to go on that vacation. I really want to buy that car. Like I really, really, you can see it start to grow and start to like manifest and start to like become something more in your reality. And the third is where there's intent. So if you really, really, really something, you wanted it, right? Now that there's this desire, you've loved it, but you start to be intentional. You start to do things differently. So if you're like, I really, really want that car, you went from like, ooh, I saw the Tesla Model 3, that's cool, to now you're seeing it everywhere. You love it. You're figuring out that's going to be your next car. But the intent, you're manifesting that in, you're seeing it, you're picturing yourself putting a charging station in your house, you're talking to people about, this type of car, but you suddenly are not spending money. You're like, ooh, I need new UGG boots. You're like, nope, I want an UGG car. You start to think differently, right? Like go out to dinner. You're like, nope, I want the new Tesla. And I'm going to show you how this shows up in our business here right at the end. And the fourth is there's passion. Like it gets you excited. There's something that your energy is different than how you show up to other people, how other people show up to you. So if I were to say to you right now, I really want to do isogenics, right? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, that's it. I really want to do isogenics. Like I come on board, I've used the products. I'm like, I really want to do this. Like, where do you guys think I am on a scale of 1 to 10? Like my excitement, my enthusiasm, my passion, my conviction, right? If I'm just like, I want to do this, right? We see that and we hear that all the time. As opposed to, I really, 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 really want to do isogenics. But if I take those 4 steps and I apply it to that, there's people that look at Jessica, right? They look at Erica, they look at Holly, they look at Ann, they look at Jenny, they look at Laura, and like, I want to do that, right? You have this thought like, oh, it'd be cool to have a freedom schedule. It'd be cool to be my own boss. It'd be cool to contribute to the family income. But then what? So if I really, really want to do that, and you desire it and you love it and you get obsessed with other people's goals, you get obsessed with the impact you can have, you get obsessed with the legacy that you can live, right? You get like in love with this process that you become resilient when it gets tough because you're more focused on the freedom you're creating for other people, the impact that you're having in other people's lives, right? Then I really, really, really want it. Your intent is different. Suddenly at night and you thought you were going to sit home and, watch Schitt's Creek and eat some bonbons, you're staying up late, you're messaging people, you're doing group messages, you're doing posts, you're crafting social media posts for the week because you're like, I'm doing this. Like I'm creating daily habits. There's a shift of how you really want this. And that last little bit is it's passion. It oozes out of you. And I don't mean you're dressed in isogenic gear head to toe, walking around with a shaker bottle, but you're excited about it. That when you run into people and like, what do you do? It's natural to be like, oh my gosh, I impact lives. I create generational wealth for families. I'd love to tell you about it. And people are like, what? I mean, you're excited about it. You drink your collagen and you do a little happy dance because you're so grateful for what that little bottle has done for you and tens of thousands of other people. I mean, I drink that collagen, you guys, and Ryan laughs at me because I literally do a happy dance of gratitude because of what it's done for my family. I mean, our business was up over 200% last year for that collagen. If you don't think that there's passion, I literally am like, collagen, collagen, collagen. And I get myself all pumped up before I reach out to people because I'm so excited about what we want to do. So I want you to just think about your business and are you a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 really? And where do you need to shift and where do you guys want to grow? I'm so grateful for all of you guys. Jessica, thank you for chiming in. If you ever want help practicing, setting up an ATM, setting up a 3-way call, please reach out to us. But just truly, truly be so obsessed on the value you can give somebody else. These group messages, the text threads, they're honestly really fun and you're going to learn so much. And the more that you get out of your head and into your heart and you just start doing them, you're like, why did I overcomplicate this? The number one thing, like, I don't want it, my people are going to be weird. Like, why am I introducing them to you? And I'll reiterate to what Jessica said last week. If you look at anybody on the leaderboard, top leaders in action, the ones going to Cabo, the ones that are rank advancing, the ones that are enrolling, they're following the systems. And that includes those ATMs and group messages. Have a good night, you guys. Thank you so much for being on.